Hello! Welcome back. We are back. It is the Belt Tap Wrestling Video Podcast. I'm Joe. He's Mike. We're back, people. Mike, how you been, brother?
I have been chilling. It's been going good. School is school, but wrestling season is going good. It's actually the last week of wrestling season. Wrestling comes to an end this coming Friday. What else? That's really about it.
It's a good time. It's a good time to be alive. This miserable thing that we call the winter season. Now, of course, we were away for several weeks because of Christmas and New Year's. The busyness, the hectic nature of the holiday season schedule, my traveling and all that stuff. It just made it pretty impossible to get our shows in for those few weeks. But we're back now, and we're ready to rock and roll.
Hell yeah! How have you been? How have you been?
I've been good. Just keeping busy and keeping the family busy and happy and doing everything. I'm losing a little bit of pounds. I'm on Weight Watchers. They're not an official sponsor, but it's good.
Coming like Thomas?
Huh?
Coming like cousin Thomas?
Like him, like my mother, your grandmother. They both lost a lot of weight when I saw them at Christmas time, and I said, "What did you do?" And they both told me Weight Watchers, and I needed to get on something, so it's so far successful. I'm doing well. I'm happy.
Good.
Yeah. This Monday Night Raw comes to you live from Oklahoma City. Who's going to be there? This guy.
And not me.
Going to go and have a good time. They haven't really announced too much that we can expect to see this coming Monday. I have no real idea specifically. I think I saw one thing of a women's tag match between, I don't even remember who it was now. I don't remember. Sasha Banks and Bayley against, I think, Ronda Rousey and Natalya. I think that's been announced for the Raw show. Dark matches announced include Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins. And there was another tag match. Can't remember who. I believe Drew McIntyre was involved in that. But those I think, are good. Yeah, it's going to be a good show. Always is a good time to be there. You know, we've been pretty down on the WWE product as of late. But regardless of that, it's still a good time to go. It's a fun experience when you're there live. Going with the girls, so we're going to have fun. My daughter's been to a live untelevised event, a house show. She had a real good time. Now she's going to experience TV, so it should be fun. Looking forward to it.
Well, that's good. That's good. You know, Speaking of Ronda Rousey, you know she is voicing in the new Mortal Kombat game?
I saw that.
Oh, I'm so excited for that game to come out.
Yeah, saw that. That should be a good time. Very good, very good. One note for this Raw, if Vince McMahon happens to see this podcast between now and Monday night, if you could make sure there is an Alexa Bliss segment where she's out, Moment of Bliss or something, it would make both my daughter and me very happy to make sure that Alexa is out there at some point. Vince McMahon, Mr. McMahon, thank you. Triple H, whoever, thank you. Please make that happen. That'd be wonderful. Well, what do you think? Let's get to it, huh?
Get to it. I'm ready.
Let's get right back to it. The elephant in the room. Let's talk about it. This happened maybe 2 weeks ago now, but we haven't been producing any shows here, but it needs to be talked about. And we're talking, of course, about the official creation of All Elite Wrestling.
Yes. Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks. Scholars. So they're scholars. They're scholars. They created their own wrestling brand company type thing.
Promotion.
All Elite Wrestling. I mean, hey, it's already got the WWE by the balls.
It sure does.
Considering they have already signed Neville or Pac in the Indies, and Jericho.
Y2J.
And there are some possible rumors on some more WWE talent going to AEW in the form of the Revival.
It is a possibility. We've read this week The Revival looks like that they have asked for their release from WWE contract. Whether or not they receive that release remains to be seen. I have not seen that they have been granted that request. But there is that. And Dolph Ziggler, his contract expires, from what I've read, the end of January, right after the Rumble. So what reason does he have to re-sign with WWE?
Well, we all know he's not winning the Rumble.
No, I don't think so.
I mean,
he either on TV in a couple of weeks anyway.
Either way, if whether his contract was expiring or not, he probably wouldn't have. Sorry.
No, not likely. This thing's really getting a lot of steam, though. Again, like you said, Pac, Chris Jericho, most notable acquisitions. Of course, Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, they're involved, and we can only expect that they'll also be on the talent roster. But who else? You look at people within that group of people who they call themselves the elite. You got to figure you're going to add a guy like Kenny Omega to that talent roster, which my guess is he's already on board. He just can't actually sign or announce or anything until his contract with New Japan has expired, which I believe also is either at the end of this month or April, something like that. So he's basically done with New Japan unless AEW has some sort of working relationship with New Japan, which I don't anticipate happening until after WrestleMania weekend. Reason being, New Japan is doing a cross-production with Ring of Honor. Is it the day before WrestleMania? Held at Madison Square Garden, of all places. So I would expect after that show, maybe we'll see some kind of a working relationship between AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling, and we'll see the Jerichos and the Omegas in both promotions, so to speak. That's what I think is happening.
I think that would be cool if that happened, but it also gives the talent somewhere to go because let's be honest here, everyone loves to complain about how this guy or that guy is misused in WWE. So when they're gone and finally able to be properly booked, no one sees them anymore because there's nowhere to go that's big enough, like as a television platform,
right?
That kind of way to showcase what they're doing. Because we have to assume that AEW is going to get a good TV deal, but if they do, like guys like the Revival and maybe Dolph Ziggler, who are both rumored to either have their contracts expire and not re-sign, or request for their release, can go somewhere and be showcased. Another good, what would be a good example?
Tell me.
Tell you, Damien Sandow.
Oh God, yeah.
Damien Sandow or Damien Mizdow, whatever. Everyone loved him. Damien Mizdow. What a scholar.
Mizdow was awesome, and he had a lot of talent. But again, it comes to this thing where all the the internet wrestling, the IWC, like anybody else, mismanaged, not used the right way. Like we're wrestling promoters. But so everybody was actually happy when he was gone because, well, now he can go somewhere and be used right. I haven't seen him. Have you?
I have not.
He was in TNA, or maybe even still is. Who knows? But that's the point you're making there is there's no TV platform.
I did see him for a few matches in TNA. I don't know what he was doing, but, he was there.
Yeah.
But, he was good. Damien Mizdow was good, and he had everything going for him. The crowd loved him. But then WWE lets him go. And quite honestly, besides from TNA and Impact, we haven't really heard much from him. So when he went to TNA,
that was really it. That was really it. He went to TNA, and like I said, they don't really have a TV platform that's worth anything. So, and TNA is that still considered the number 2 promotion, or is that Ring of Honor?
It's not.
I mean, you got to figure now it's AEW, but they haven't even put on a show yet. But let's be realistic. They've got a lot of financial backing when you sign a guy like Chris Jericho and a Pac and a Kenny Omega. You got these big-time names on top of big time indie names, because I don't know if people consider Ring of Honor or New Japan to be indies, but these are just people that are going to get nice big contracts, and they're going to get a good TV deal. So it's for me, I think it's good. It's competition. Competition is a good thing, so long as AEW gets a good television deal. It can't be on like El Rey Network. Did you know that there's such a thing as El Rey?
Not until now.
Not until right now. Do you know who airs on El Rey? Lucha Underground. Have you ever seen a Lucha Underground show?
I have, unfortunately, because I usually see like highlights of it on social media, and
Right.
hey, from what I see, it's
interesting. It's very adult. It has mature, quite mature storylines, content. I mean, they literally murder people in the show.
yeah.
But it's a mature audience. But it's on El Rey. It's getting no steam because who knows they even have El Rey. I didn't. I had to find it. I had to look for it and to watch some Lucha Underground, which by the way I enjoy. I think Lucha Underground's a good show, but it doesn't have me linked in. Why? Finding time is hard. But again, nothing major to me is happening with it. It's not expanding because it doesn't have that TV base. TNA, I forget who I heard they just recently signed a TV deal with, but I remember that I've never heard of the network. So you really have to hope for All Elite that they will get a lucrative deal, something, USA Networks, True TV, a major network, ABC, Fox. It's not going to be Fox because SmackDown's going to Fox, but you just something that can compete.
When is that happening? When is SmackDown going to Fox?
I want to say next year sometime. There's a deal in place that SmackDown is going to have a lengthy week or weekend of sports. They're going to do this whole sports thing with baseball, football, and they're going to include the wrestling product. And it's going to be more wrestling than it is storyline. At least that's what Fox reportedly is asking of the WWE. So that's something to look forward to and see how that plays out. But again, AEW, if they get themselves a good TV deal and they go live, let's say they go live for 2 hours, not 3, please God, no 3 hours. 2-hour show live every week, whether it be head-to-head with Raw or SmackDown or a different day of the week. Regardless, it's still competition. And competition, I can tell you from experience, having grown up through, living through, and enjoying the Attitude Era, the competition is necessary. Because right now, WWE fans have been bitching for years. The product is stale. The product is boring. We know ratings are at an all-time low. Attendance is at an all-time low. Hell, they even said it on Raw before the new year, before the McMahons took over to make everything better. When the content sucks because there's nothing motivating, creative, or Vince McMahon to put any effort into it. Back in the Attitude Era days, the idea they showed up every week for TV to talk about how they can be better this week than they did last week, and it showed. You had the big personalities, though. You had the Stone Cold Steve Austins. You had The Rock. You had The Undertaker on a full-time basis. You had Triple H on a full-time basis. These guys were gargantuan. Even Mick Foley. The Monday Night Wars, it's considered the greatest time, I think. It's considered the greatest time, most popular time, if nothing else, in wrestling history. But that's because there was tight competition. It was motivation to beat the other guys. Kept everything fresh. And that has been lacking since WWE's purchase of WCW. Of course, WCW was horribly mismanaged, so AEW better step up the game in terms of managing things. But I'm for it. If you're not for it, I think you're a fool. You complain about the WWE product being crap right now. This is the way to improve it. Give it some competition.
Definitely, and maybe they should start a new invasion angle. You see Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, and the Young Bucks come in and beat the shit out of Braun Strowman, and then maybe
that be
What's that?
You know what? You're not going to see. I said, how amazing would that be? But I don't think you're going to see that. Not between WWE and AEW, at least. They will be button heads competitors. They're not going to want to put each other's talents on their programming. But that's the kind of thing you could see between AEW and New Japan, Ring of Honor, groups like that have some steam, but they're not considered a real legitimate threat of competition to the WWE. That's the kind of thing you're going to see, that kind of fun TV out of AEW, I think. But you won't see it on WWE programming.
Which sucks. But yeah, that's the elephant in the room. Do we have anything else to talk about with that?
No, I don't think so. As of right now, until we start hearing some more breaking news about anything happening with AEW, like I said, I'm a fan of the idea. I support it. I look forward to it. I really hope they're successful.
That's good. I'm hoping that it lives up to the hype, but to be honest, I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't, because that's wrestling nowadays. Fortunately.
Yeah, they got some smart minds behind it, though, and they have a lot of money behind it. With the Khan family financially supporting it. The Khan family owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have money. So, and they're lifelong wrestling fans. I think the principal owner's son, I believe, if I read that correctly, I remember it correctly. So there's a passion for the product to begin with, and there's financial backing for it too. And again, it comes down to TV. You get the TV production that you need, the exposure that it will create for your promotion. I think it can be successful. I think it'll be a lot of fun if it is. So let's move on. Monday Night Raw this past week, January 14th, live from Memphis, home of one Jerry the King Lawler. And pre-opening segment, the long limo, the stretch limo's in the back. Vince McMahon comes out of it, has a problem with a minor blemish on the car, makes the driver buff it out if he only knew what was about to happen to it, right?
So Raw opens with Vince McMahon coming out, and then you have these four wrestlers. You have John Cena coming out and basically, saying what he did when he debuted back in 2002. Why do you think you deserve to be here? Ruthless aggression. So you had Cena. You had Drew McIntyre calling out Cena, saying his time is up and McIntyre's time is now. And who else did you have? You had Corbin, Baron Corbin, coming out. Still probably a little salty about losing his general manager position, or acting general manager, whatever the fuck it was. And then we had Finn Balor coming out saying, I was the first ever Universal Champion and I should be in the Universal Champion picture. And then one thing leads to another. They're beating the shit out of each other. And Vince McMahon sees Drew McIntyre do a Claymore kick to John Cena and is like, "Oh, you guys right? You guys good with this? You guys like seeing this?" And sets up a fatal four-way match between those four wrestlers to determine the number one contender for the Universal Championship against Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble.
So let's backtrack on how we got there. Braun Strowman in the beginning of the show comes out, cuts his promo, his basic, boring Braun Strowman promo. Corbin comes out, eggs him on. He chases him in the back. Elias, he tells him through song, of course, that he's in the limo. And there goes the window. There goes the door. McMahon is standing right there. Finds him $100,000. He don't care. This car ain't worth $100,000. So he strips him of his title opportunity at the Royal Rumble, which is why we had that segment with those four setting up the Fatal 4-Way to decide who's going to face Brock Lesnar at the Rumble. So that's and of course, he got that stripped away from him. And how else would you respond to bad news like that but flip over another car?
I mean, hey, if you're Braun Strowman, you can flip over anything. Braun Strowman was mad. Braun Strowman was definitely mad. What do you think they're gonna do? Why do you think they pulled him out in the first place?
One of two things. One, he's still too hurt, which I guess is possible. He hasn't been in an actual match, really. So he may still not be 100% ready to go. There's that, or they never intended on having him in this match in the first place, because I actually read this. I believe it was Dave Meltzer reported that they never did intend on this match. They promoted it as such because it sounded better for ticket sales, and evidently they were going to go with somebody else anyway because they didn't want Braun to lose yet again to Brock Lesnar. And again, the idea, as we spoke earlier, the plan is
You froze again. You froze. God damn it. Oh, okay.
Brock versus Rollins. Looking over me here in a second because he has no idea that I'm talking and visible and able to be seen. But I'm going to talk about Ronda Rousey and Sasha Banks. They took on Nia Jax and Tamina. The match was what it was, but obviously the story here was the post-match interview. To me, Ronda played.
Bro, I had him. Damn it. What is happening? All right. He was talking about Ronda and Sasha Banks post-match, so I'm just going to kind of carry on with that. God damn it. You froze. You froze. And you've like been frozen for the last like 2 minutes ish.
The complimentary ass kissing babyface. Anyway. So anyway, we're finally seeing some personality out of Sasha Banks. A little bit heelish. Is she a good guy heel, a babyface, aggressive babyface, or is she going heel? I'm going with aggressive babyface probably. But sadly, we know the results are going to be Banks falling.
But I would love to see a more aggressive side of Sasha Banks, though. I think that would definitely be good, considering she's basically, ever since she got called up to the main roster, she's just been kind of pushed aside as just not good enough. So if she kind of shows a more aggressive side, then she will definitely be taken more seriously. All right, how many times is he going to freeze?
To the Rumble because Rousey's going down here because she's got to be undefeated going into WrestleMania, especially if these women are going to be the main event, which I believe wholeheartedly that they will be. Rousey will go into Mania undefeated, my opinion.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you keep freezing. What the fuck? Wait, I gotta do that funny thing that happened the last time this happened. I don't know if he's over here, so I'm praying to God he's over here. He froze up on me. Why? Just in case if he's pointing over there. In case if he's on this section of the screen. Really, man? Why you gotta do this to me? You froze.
You got to check WWE, of course. She, along with Bayley Charlotte and Becky Lynch, the four horsewomen of WWE, she does this to one of the members of the four horsewomen of MMA, that being Ronda Rousey. The other three are down in NXT, and now they got a Twitter war over who's four horse.
And you're gone. Fuck. I'm connected. Yeah, I'm connected.
Women are better, so I wonder if that's going to. So I'm going to keep on rolling. Keep on rolling. We see a line outside of Mr. McMahon's office, a bunch of lower mid-carders waiting to state their case to face Brock Lesnar. And we're talking about the B team is out there. And Apollo Crews. Out of the office comes Memphis' Jerry the King Lawler. Just a cheap hometown.
Oh my God! Why? Keeps freezing. What the fuck? Like, I'm here, you just froze, and like your face is just like, but like it's like I see you, I hear you in and out. Like, don't think I'm just like ignoring you or whatever. But just
had nothing to do with anything. Wait till he's finished. Isn't great.
I see.
So the Revival wins this time, but again with the controversial fashion. And during the match, they went picture in picture with the interviews of the people waiting in line to talk to McMahon, and the oddest debut in history, in my opinion. EC3.
See, now he's gonna be frozen for like 5 minutes, and then he's not gonna be frozen for like 2 minutes, and frozen for 5, and not frozen for 2, and just... I'm still here. I can see you. You just look shit-faced right now.
Is one of these superstars. As he makes his debut on LOL. So, weirdest debut ever for EC3 because he didn't say a word. The live crowd didn't even react because they didn't even see him. How do you have a reaction like that for somebody that you're trying to pump up to come up to the main roster? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Mike, can you hear me yet? Go somewhere where you have a better signal.
I can now hear you.
Go somewhere where you have a better signal because this has been hysterical watching you flip out.
I see
Take your internet somewhere else where you have a stronger signal.
I don't know if I can, to be honest.
Well, I'm talking about EC3's amazing debut in a picture-in-picture thing during the Lucha House Party Revival match, where the crowd couldn't even see him because it was a picture-in-picture thing for TV. So how are you going to react to somebody who's making his debut? And he didn't say a word. Terrible debut for one EC3, in my opinion.
Honestly, it sucks because you have someone like EC3. Like, it's just I can already tell he's gonna be one of those like NXT jobbers. Damn it.
Yes, he is.
Like he was back in like whatever 2010 in NXT when he Derek Bateman.
Yeah, I don't see EC3 being extraordinarily successful at the main roster level. Maybe upper mid-card level. He'll never be a world champion. He may get a short stint with the Intercontinental or United States Championship, depending on which brand he lands on. Because all of these NXT call-ups, they're on both Raw and SmackDown right now. We don't know where they're going to land. So time will tell.
Well, actually, I'm gonna get into it when we go to SmackDown because you know what? Never mind. I'm gonna get into it now.
Get into
it. You saw Heavy Machinery on both Raw and SmackDown, but you only saw Nikki Cross on Raw. Like, what's up with that?
No, Nikki Cross was on SmackDown.
She was.
She was. She was backstage when Rey Mysterio was walking toward the ring. She was it Mysterio's walk to the ring? And she was in a cage.
I did not see that.
That's the point of how terrible that booking is. Because I didn't even know that Lacey Evans made her debut on Raw also until I watched it back. Because I missed it.
Are you serious? She also made it?
Finn Balor was walking to the ring for his match against Jinder Mahal. And he walked past Lacey Evans, who was there with two of the other female superstars. I think Dana Brooke and somebody else.
That's so stupid.
Just a quick mention. Hey, look, there's Lacey Evans.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, they've done so far a pretty bad job outside of Nikki Cross, who we'll get to in a second here. I think they've done a pretty bad job of debuting people. I can only hope Lars Sullivan gets a better debut than all these people have.
Lars Sullivan better eat someone alive.
Well, that's called cannibalism, and I'm pretty sure that's frowned upon in this country.
Someone. Cannibalism all over the ring.
Jinder Mahal earlier in the show, he had right after the segment where McMahon set up the Fatal 4-Way, Mahal greets Mr. McMahon in the back and wants his chance to be in the Fatal 4-Way. Says he would have come out, but he was tending to the Singh brother that Strowman had thrown into next Tuesday earlier in the show. And McMahon says, all right, pick anybody from that match. If you can beat him, you're in his place. So he picks Finn Balor. Balor walking to the ring later. That's where we are supposed to have seen Lacey Evans. And your basic match, it's Mahal, who, by the way, had the audacity to call himself one of the greatest WWE champions of all time.
Which he was not.
Not even close. Not even close. And imagine that Finn Balor won that match.
Shocker.
So let's get to Nikki Cross here. We have a 6-woman tag team match. The Riot Squad take on Bayley, Natalya, and a mystery partner who turns out to be Nikki Cross. Now, this was funny to me watching it at home because I was watching it with my girls. My daughter, not a big fan. My wife looked at her and said, I like her. This woman spent more energy on her entrance than she did the entire match. I'm telling you. That's not true. Actually, she was in most of the match. So
let's play Becky.
So I didn't hear you. Say that again.
Play Becky.
Let's play Becky. Let's play.
Did you know that her and Killian Dane were
in this match? Huh?
Did you know that her and Killian Dane are a couple?
I read this yesterday. I guess they got married.
I read this morning.
Yeah. I guess they got
married.
I read
this morning.
No.
I read that this morning on Bleacher Report that they're getting married.
Getting or got, one or the other. But yeah, that was news to me.
They're getting married.
Yeah. Well, funny spot in this match for me. The match was what it was. Just your basic. It was fun. Nikki Cross made it a very fun match. But at one point, Natalya missed a drop kick that Sarah Logan sold as though she got hit square in the mouth. Corey Graves actually said Natty got all of it. And she completely missed.
Funny, Corey Graves, as usual. I love Corey Graves. Corey Graves is a god.
Corey Graves is pretty great.
He's a god.
We had ourselves a six. I'm seeing double. A triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship between Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Lashley.
It was a good match. It was a good match.
Yes, it was.
Made Lashley win.
I know it's funny. Lashley did win the match. He's the new Intercontinental Champion. And as I'm watching the match, I literally said to myself, I think I was watching it by myself at this point, Lashley's kind of the forgotten person in this mix of things. It would be like WWE to throw the belt on him. And sure enough, he won the match with a little bit of help from Mr. Leo Rush. There you go. New Intercontinental Champion.
You know what? I can't totally judge it yet. All I'm saying is that Bobby Lashley sucks. Like I said.
His hype man's doing his job, though. He's not doing the Lashley chant anymore. We're not doing butt poses anymore. So he or they, as heel characters, are growing on me. Now I'm booing them because I'm booing the heel. I'm not annoyed with them because I don't like their act, as it had been in the very recent past. So, as heels, they're warming up to me now, and we'll see how it goes with him holding the strap or how long he even does hang on to it.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, at least make it good. Either short but sweet or long but sweet.
As long as it's sweet. I don't care what the length is. As long as it is sweet. So we move on to a moment of bliss.
Oh my God. Alexa Bliss she's, oh my God.
Can we just talk about how hot that woman is just for a second?
Just for a second, like, can anyone even like be that?
I think the closest thing going in terms of attractiveness in WWE is quite easily Mandy Rose. Mandy, however, she looks like a Barbie doll. I don't.
And she's trying to get with Jimmy Uso.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
The thing about Alexa, you know, I don't know, when she's like just herself, dressed, which she has been for months now because she is unable to compete still. But she, you know, she's elegant, and I find that very attractive. She's elegant, she's beautiful, naturally beautiful, and keep her on TV, please.
Please. If
anyway.
If somehow anyone important from WWE watches this, Alexa Bliss is good for the soul. Please keep her. Please keep her. And don't drive her to beg for her release. Please.
Oh, for real though. Huh. Well, prior to the commercial anyway, going into this moment of bliss, we have this is a big topic on the internet this week. This intern or whatever he is going into Alexa's locker room. And even though he knocked like 3-4 times, he goes in there, he says, "I'm coming in," right?
Yeah, it's
and
like
he is right there next to the door, and she's putting her top on, but we see her barebacked and everything, and ask him if he even knocked, how could, you know, blah 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 blah. I have something to say about this segment. It didn't play well. It just didn't. It came off as awkward. I see what they're doing. I believe this is part of the let's boost some ratings. I don't know if it's AEW panic, this particular part. It's just maybe a let's get the ratings back up kind of thing. I read somewhere that this actually was Alexa's idea herself to do this. I don't know if that's true or not, of course. It seemed unnecessary. Did it bother me? No. Did I find it necessary? No, not at all. But again, I've read a lot of people are talking about this and how this is now this big giant step backwards in the women's movement in professional wrestling in the WWE. I think that is a gross exaggeration. This
disgusting.
Saying a major step backwards for women. Bareback. He walked in on her getting dressed, clearly by accident. He was not sitting there trying to sneak a peek kind of thing. It was an accident. Oops. We didn't see anything but a bareback, which is, you see most of it in all the women in their wrestling gear anyway. So, is this an attitude era attempt? I think it's a far cry from that. Are they pushing towards that? Push that envelope a little bit? I don't know. Maybe. Was that a big deal to me? Absolutely not. And for the people that are saying what a huge step backwards that this is to women's wrestling, I say to you, when you see the women main eventing WrestleMania this year, you tell me how far step back they're taking. That's just my opinion. I think the women are going to main event this year.
Exactly. Like, it's not that. So really, when you think of the women's, or in this case, Divas, the Divas division back in, say, whatever, 2011, 2012. No, not even 2011.
That's a good time frame, I think.
2011. Yeah. They were just, I mean, don't get me wrong, they were nice to look at, Kelly and all of them, but they had no talent. So if you want to say something along the lines of this is a huge step back for the women's division, it's really not. And if you say that, then you're delusional.
If you say that, you're not paying attention. You're not looking at the big picture. I think it's very short-sighted to come to that conclusion. I mean, this world we're living in now. I mean, if a woman is not treated like a goddess, you're chastised for it. But let's not forget, Alexa Bliss is the goddess, literally, in terms of her character.
She's Goddess
People
is
need to
every
react.
word.
People are offended by everything. They want the Attitude Era back, but then something like that happens, and oh my God, this is the absolute most disgusting thing and vile thing I've ever seen.
Well, we
People
live
need
in a
to
world.
thicken their skin.
Well, we live in a world where everyone gets too sensitive and too offended by little stupid shit, and they think that tweeting about it or putting shit on Facebook about it is going to do any good to it. Yeah, it won't. So quit while you're ahead. From me. Love you.
You're in ahead. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I very well could be, but is there not this kind of backlash on the Mandy Rose Jimmy Uso story?
No.
The woman was invited him to her hotel room. He shows up. She's in lingerie, and where's the outcry? So I'm confused. Maybe I just didn't see it, and maybe the outcry is there. I just haven't seen it. I don't know. But anyway, I digress. So after that, we actually had the Moment of Bliss segment where she comes out, and the first portion of this segment is the big announcement. Finally, we've been hearing about this forever. We've been hearing the rumors about it. The Christmas episode of Raw, Vince McMahon dressed as Santa Claus, Santa McMahon, as I like to call him. He announced that we will have women's tag team championships in 2019. And as Alexa pointed out, this he didn't say when, but she revealed the new belts, which I think look very good. Honestly, I like them.
I like
and
Definitely.
And announced that the winners will be crowned at the Elimination Chamber.
They are definitely different from the other titles.
That's what I like about them.
Exactly. So no WWE, no more Universal Championship looking like the WWE Championship scenarios. Please, thank you. So they look more original. They look more badass. They look good. They look good.
I like them. They're not just a big plate of the WWE logo like all the other titles are. So I shouldn't say that. The Intercontinental and US aren't like that either. But all the tag. No, the tag titles don't look like that. I don't know why I talk. Sometimes I don't know why I talk. But an interesting thought about this is it's going to be in the Elimination Chamber. 3 women's tag teams from Raw, 3 women's tag teams from SmackDown will compete. The winner will be the women's tag team champions. And the men's division, there are tag team champions for both shows. I have heard in like one place, I can't even remember where, of the possibility of doing away with the brand split again. And this might be the first step to that. There's only one women's tag team champions. Are they going to be on both Raw and SmackDown, but all the other champions are only on their own one show? That doesn't make sense to me. You're not going to have the women's tag team champions float like John Cena does. So I wonder if this is a step towards just doing away with the brand split. How that'll work, I'm not 100% sure. Again, with SmackDown going to Fox, that may be a part of it so that all the big superstars can be seen on Fox, even the ones that are on Raw. So another something. We'll see what happens. But
I definitely think that they are trying to do something new, because think about it. When the McMahons came back and they're taking control of WWE again, they promised that there would be new stuff. There would be new stories. There would be new, it would be an entirely new
day. Sorry, couldn't help it.
Nice. The business will be totally turned upside down. Maybe this is a stepping stone in that direction.
I hope so, because quite honestly, I'm tired of seeing Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman, which we'll eventually see, I'm sure. Or maybe Braun's out of the picture. Who knows? But speaking of Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman is Alexa's guest on A Moment of Bliss. He cuts his basic Lesnar promo only to be interrupted.
by Otis Dozovic, what a crackhead.
That guy's funny.
He's like, "Where's the pretty lady? Pretty lady."
So
It was so funny though. You gotta admit, it was fun.
it was fun. It was one of the better NXT call-up debuts. He at least was able to come out into the arena and get some kind of a fan reaction. You couldn't miss that Heavy Machinery was on Raw, like you missed EC3, like you probably missed Lacey Evans. So it wasn't a Nikki Cross. She by far had the best debut, but at least we saw them. You couldn't miss Heavy Machinery. So it was an interesting segment. It kind of cut off oddly. It just kind of stopped and boom, went right into the fatal four-way match to determine Brock Lesnar's Royal Rumble opponent while Paul Heyman and Alexa Bliss are still standing out there on the stage. A little weird.
The match is good though.
The match was good.
I really enjoyed it, and I definitely liked seeing Balor pin Cena.
Yes.
Because that definitely shows that Finn's like he's back. Like he's coming to take what's his.
Super Cena's putting people over lately. He knows it. He's not John Cena that he used to be, but he's still on top of the game. But him losing means nothing. So he'll always be John Cena. He's billed now as the greatest of all time. They are saying it constantly, if not the greatest, one of the greatest of all time. I get it. It's promotional marketing and all that. There you go. Of course, they still promote him as that way because he's getting on the mic to put over the guy who he already put over. Oh, don't worry. John Cena's a believer in you, Finn Balor, so everybody else should be too. So I think that's cheap, personally. So that was Raw. Moving on to Smackdown the following night, the 15th of January, 2019, live from Birmingham, Alabama. Becky Lynch shows up in her SUV, probably a rental, I'm sure. Interviewed, asked if she really believes she's ready for Asuka. Of course she is. And then we see the New Day with their pancakes going, what is going on here? Because there's Heavy Machinery and Otis preparing some nasty-looking shake of some sort. He drinks it. He says, oh, yeah! And Xavier says, oh, no! Which I laughed ass off. I laughed so hard when that happened. And then New Day won't drink it, but Becky Lynch will. She's the man. She'll do what she wants.
Man,
and what did she say?
When she drinks it, she's like, it's a little weak.
It's a little weak.
Otis's face. He was like,
wow. What? So Becky heads to the ring. She cuts a promo talking about Asuka. She mentions how, nobody was ready for Asuka until WrestleMania when she lost. And then she fell off the radar as soon as she lost. And then Asuka comes out and sadly got on the microphone. I'm sorry, Asuka's entertaining, but keep her off the microphone, please.
Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh, both of them. I love them. I'm not a big Nakamura fan. Most people know that, but and I get it. You got to banter back and forth and everything, but it's just doesn't feel real. Give each of them a mouthpiece of some sort. Put Heyman on SmackDown also with Nakamura.
I can actually see that. It's actually scary on how good I think they could go.
It would be great.
It's scary, actually.
But so she gets on the mic, says that after the Rumble, Becky will no longer be in Charlotte's shadow, but she'll be in Asuka's shadow, which would have played off better if a Paul Heyman said it. But it just doesn't feel real to me when they banter back and forth like that. Then out come the Iconics because they're main eventers, I guess. They say whatever and that they'll win the Rumble. They will win the Royal Rumble and the Women's Tag Championships.
Yeah, not happening.
I don't think so. Now, I wouldn't be shocked because it's WWE. I wouldn't be overly shocked if the Iconics actually come out of Elimination Chamber as the tag team champions.
Well, because they're really the only like fully
Actual tag team.
established like actual tag. Yeah.
Yeah. But they need to win matches in order to be considered in a serious way for that. They don't win
Yeah.
matches. Yeah, I don't know. But Lynch challenges either one of them to a match, and Peyton Royce, that poor bitch, she's the one who has to take the beating. And it was a okay match. Uh, Lacey Evans, she makes another appearance without appearing because nobody in the audience knows that she's there appearing because she's backstage watching the match on TV. Okay, great. They showed her twice watching the match on TV for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But again, it garners no fan reaction because it's a shitty way to debut people. I don't understand debuting people that way.
Yeah, neither do I. But it's definitely not the most energetic way for someone, especially with people like EC3 and Lacey Evans.
Mm-hmm.
They are definitely, or they were definitely, the more talented people in NXT
Right.
in their respective divisions.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to completely Tyler Breeze them.
That's a good comparison. That's a very good comparison.
Hmm. Yeah, goes again. Oh, and we were going so good, and then he froze. I see, we were going good. We had to freeze again. Hi. See, we were going good, and you had to freeze again.